Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Nigeria's #1 citizen, President Muhammadu Buhari, arrives in Abuja after a 10-day medical leave to treat an ear infection in London. As the war against insurgency continues, the plight of internally displaced persons remains in the front burner, with over 4,000 IDPs residing in informal camps in Kaduna State. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project condemns the demand by some senators for immunity and life pension for principal members of the National Assembly. And aid workers warn of a humanitarian disaster in Fallujah following an exodus of civilians from the Iraqi city. We begin in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital territory, to where the president has returned after medical vacation to treat an ear infection in the United Kingdom. Speaking to State House correspondents after a brief airport ceremony at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja, President Muhammadu Buhari said he's hale and hearty and ready to resume work. In a rare show of humor in response to his state of health, the president said he's in good shape to engage in a wrestling match. Our State House correspondent, Chukwuma Onekusi, reports.
The presidential jet touches ground at about 5:30 p.m. and taxis to a stop at the presidential wing. President Buhari alights. He mounts the days for the national anthem and the inspection of the guards of honor mounted by a detachment of the presidential guards. A couple of state governors, APC political bigwigs, some of the ministers in the federal cabinet, and other presidential aides were at the presidential wing as early as 3 o'clock in the afternoon to welcome him. The list is endless. All of them wanted to have a handshake with the president, who's been away for some time on vacation in the United Kingdom. The president told State House correspondents at the airport who sought to know his current state of health to use their sense of judgment.
Well, you have seen me. I hope you saw me when I was going. Use your sense of judgment. Thank you.
He also spoke in the Hausa language. The presidential spokesman is grateful to Nigerians who have, in one way or the other, shown concern about their president while he was away.
I also use this opportunity to thank Nigerians who wished the president well and who asked for information about his state of health. And then those who went into overdrive, who went into some sort of hysteria, I also want to appeal to them to have a positive mindset. They don't need to look at the worst case scenario when they hear about the health status of anybody, not even just the president.
Well-meaning Nigerians have always wished their leaders well, and President Buhari will no doubt be an exception. They hope that he will indeed enjoy 100% health status as he resumes to continue with the enormous task of nation building. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
As part of efforts to fast-track the development of the nation, the federal government says it's working hard to provide infrastructure that will create employment and ease the movement of Nigerians within the country. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, who disclosed this in Nasarawa State shortly after inspecting the local Weto Bridge being constructed over River Benue in Nasarawa and Benue states, says more rural communities will be opened up for the benefit of farmers and other Nigerians. Beyond the construction of the bridge, residents of the area are appealing to the federal government to connect the community to the national grid.
That is the kind of growth and inclusion we expect to see as we also improve the infrastructure of the country and get construction work going again. You will see those who lost their jobs will come back to work. You will see increased merchandising, quarrying, supplies of building materials, laterites, sand, cement, and hopefully the re-inflation and growth of the economy return. But quite aside from that, when this project is completed, it will open up these communities, connect Nasarawa and Benue states. Farmers will benefit from the movement and transportation of their produce. It will get to market much more quickly in much more healthy condition and reduce the wastage and rot that transportation causes at the moment.
We want to still appeal for the community. As you can see how large the community is. A community that has a population of over 50,000 people are staying in darkness in this our millennium time. Is very, very uncalled for. Please, at least Nigeria has come of age.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has condemned the demand by some senators on Saturday for immunity and life pension for presiding officers of the National Assembly after their tenure in office. A statement issued by the Executive Director of SERAP, Mr. Adetokunbo Mumini, describes the demand as self-serving and despicable. The statement alleges that the demand is a grand strategy calculated to use legislative powers to alter the 1999 Constitution in legislators' favor so that they can enjoy life benefits at the expense of millions of economically and socially disadvantaged Nigerians who voted them into office. SERAP believes that granting senators and representatives immunity and life pensions would neither enhance governance accountability nor contribute to improving the lives of Nigerians. Part of the statement reads, Nigerians will reject any self-serving attempt by the senators and representatives to tear up Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution to grant their leaders immunity from prosecution for corruption and money laundering. SERAP says it will pursue all legal avenues nationally and internationally to compel the senators to drop the immunity and life pension proposals. As some states grapple with socio-economic challenges caused by dwindling oil prices and consequently revenue allocation from the Federation account, the federal government will be rolling out another round of bailouts. However, beneficiaries of these funds will have to meet 22 stringent conditions. Some of the governors are asking for the restructuring of the nation to make the states viable and financially independent. In an exclusive interview with Channels Television, the governors of Benue State, Samuel Otom, and that of Oyo State, Abiola Ajimobi, lament the inability of the states to pay workers' salaries. Governor Ajimobi is advocating for the unbundling of the federal government, while Dr. Otom clarifies the essence of the bailout from the federal government.
The last support we had from the federal government to the central bank to borrow money from the bank was not a bailout. If you talk about bailing out, you'll be talking about grants, but in this case it was a loan. And I think the proposal right now is being misinterpreted, but I think it was corrected during the last National Economic Council meeting. It is a budget support fund to be borrowed to support the states. Everybody is aware of what is happening. Salaries are not being paid, even in Benue State we are affected. And this is meant to support our budget for the next 6 months. When we meet the conditions, we are supposed to be having additional fund of 1.3 billion naira a state, in addition to whatever will come from the Federation account.
If you remove federal government allocation monthly to every state, between 85 and 90% of the states will collapse. The federal government must unbundle The federal government has no business in agriculture. It should be a policy formulating body. There should be policy formulation at the center. So in terms of all these what you call exclusive lists and the concurrent lists, they need to be reviewed. And that for me is what I call the socioeconomic restructuring of Nigeria. For instance, I'm doing mining. I'm interested in mining. I have a lot of marble. I have a lot of mineral resources. What is the federal government's business in that? What they should do is to provide an enabling environment for people to participate, to develop whatever they have in their states.
More explanations are emerging as to what led to the restricted flow of the Ogun River. The Ogun State Commissioner for Environment, Bolaji Oyeleye, also spoke on what he will do to restore the river's flow in the affected areas. Our correspondent Olumide Macaulay reports.
The people's curiosity is not dampened by official explanations as to the so-called drying up of the Ogun River.
Yesterday morning we heard about the river changing, and all of a sudden everybody did not understand what was happening. And this is a road we ply every day. I live at Magboro and we ply this road every day. Even my baby is always shouting, "Mommy, mommy, look at the big river." But getting here this morning is so surprising, and I believe this is a miracle because I grew up in this area and I've known this river to be here over 35 years ago. And it's so surprising to see that everything has just changed all of a sudden. It's beyond human comprehension.
Still a very active situation, it prompts an assessment visit by the Ogun State Commissioner for Environment, who explains how the flow of the river came to be restricted.
About 2 days ago, the Ogun Dam was released, and because it had increased the water level, and there's torrents on the river course, so it has brought along with it a lot of ice that you can see at the background. What is mysterious about the whole thing is that the clogging, particularly under the bridge, that's why you think the other side is dried up and this place is still flowing. Basically what happened is that the river, the ice was brought along with the torrent of the water, and then that's clogged the river course behind us.
As for those to whom the sight of a weed-filled river proves too tempting an offer to resist a visit,
I will also want to advise that people that are, commuting on it should stop it, because ice usually brings along with it other animals that are dangerous, reptiles, scorpions, and the likes. I was here yesterday, and right in front of me, we killed a snake here. So people should stop, commuting on it.
While the scientific explanation may take the wind out of the sails of those who want a more extraordinary reason for the state of portions of the Ogun River, even so, it will soon be rectified. As the Ogun State Ministry of Environment says, work on clearing out the water hyacinth from the river will soon begin. Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, we'll be getting more explanation from the Commissioner for Environment in Ogun State concerning the partial dry-up of the Ogun River. Plus, the Nigerian military offers more than protection to residents of Riom and Bakin-Ladi local government areas in Plateau State as soldiers take to the classrooms. Join us again.